All right, let's just jump right in. Have you ever stopped to think about why some words, just a few simple words put together, can hit you with the force of like a tidal wave? You know that feeling, right? When a line in a song, or maybe just a short verse you read somewhere, just stops you in your tracks? Well, that's not an accident. That feeling, that's poetry at work. It's language that's been like engineered for maximum impact. Honestly, that's the best way to think about it. If regular language, what we call prose, is kind of like a reliable family sedan, it gets you from point A to point B, then poetry is a high performance engine. It's built for power, for precision, and yeah, most importantly, for feeling. So let's pop the hood on that engine, shall we? In the next few minutes, we're going to see what really makes poetry tick. Then we'll take a quick tour of how it's changed over time. And finally, we'll get into why this ancient art form is, believe it or not, more relevant today than ever before. All right, so what's the secret sauce? What really separates poetry from every other kind of writing? Because let's be real, it's way more than just rhyming words at the end of a line. Okay, look at this definition. The two words you really need to latch onto are condensed and intensified. Think about it. Poetry takes these massive, complex ideas like love or grief or just wonder and boils them down to their most powerful, potent form. It's all about saying the absolute most with the fewest possible words. In this comparison right here, it just nails the difference in their missions. Prose wants to inform you. It's walking you down a pretty straight path. But poetry? Oh, poetry wants you to feel something. It's designed to hit your senses, your heart, and your brain all at the same time. It creates these incredible layers of meaning you can come back to over and over. So, how in the world do poets pull this off? Well, they've got this secret toolkit, a whole set of powerful techniques they use to create that experience. Let's peek inside and check out a few of them. First up, a poet has to choose a basic form. Think of it like the chassis of a car. You've got lyric poetry, which is all about personal, intimate emotions. Think Emily Dickinson. Then there's narrative poetry, which tells a huge story, like Homer's Odyssey. And you have dramatic poetry, which reveals a character through their own voice, like in a Robert Browning monologue. Each form is built for a totally different job. Okay, now for the high-performance parts of the engine. The most famous one, of course, is the metaphor. And this is key. It's not just saying something is like something else. No, it's saying it is that other thing. It just smashes two ideas into one, and bam, you get an instant, powerful image right there in your mind. And then there's the sound. Oh man, poets are absolutely obsessed with sound. Take alliteration, like deep, dark dread. It uses those repeated sounds to create this music within the language itself. It actually makes the words feel good to say and hear, and it's a clever way to guide our attention without us even realizing it. Now, these tools have been around for thousands of years, but how they've been used? Whoa, that has changed dramatically. So let's buckle up and take a lightning-fast tour through the history of poetry. It all kicked off with ancient oral epics, stuff that was meant to be performed and remembered. Then we move into the medieval era with these deep spiritual journeys like Dante's Divine Comedy. The Renaissance rolls around, and you've got Shakespeare just mastering the sonnet, this perfect little box for exploring huge ideas like love and time. After that, the Romantics came along, focusing on raw emotion and nature. They were followed by the Victorians, who started using poetry to ask big social and moral questions. And then the Modernists, like T.S. Eliot, they just blew the whole thing up, experimenting with fragmented, free verse for a world that felt pretty fragmented itself. Okay, so a timeline is great and all, but let's actually meet a couple of the people who put these ideas into practice, the minds that really changed the game forever. First, let's talk about William Wordsworth. He was a huge figure in the Romantic movement. And for him, poetry wasn't about being clever with words. Nope, it was about this right here, capturing a genuine, powerful feeling, just as raw as it was when it happened. His formula was actually pretty simple, but beautiful. It starts with a powerful emotional experience, usually something inspired by nature. But then, and this is the really important part, you don't just rush to write it down. You let it sit with you. You reflect on it. You let your memory kind of filter and shape it. It's almost like a form of mindfulness, really, a way to process the world around you. And that's how a simple walk in the woods can turn into this profound meditation on life itself. All right, now let's do a complete 180 and meet Robert Browning, a master from the Victorian era. See, he wasn't really interested in his own feelings. He was obsessed with getting inside the minds of other people. His most famous poem, My Last Duchess, is basically a chilling little puzzle. You've got this duke, he's showing off a portrait of his dead wife, but listen closely. As he talks, what is he telling us about himself that he's not even aware he's saying? And that was his genius. It's called the dramatic monologue. We only ever hear from one person speaking, but if you pay attention to their word choice, their tone, and especially what they don't say, you get this complete psychological portrait. All their hidden motives, their pride, their jealousy, it all comes out. Browning was basically using poetry like a psychological scalpel to dissect human nature. Okay, so we've looked at the mechanics, we've met some of the masters, but this isn't just some dusty history lesson, right? The real question is, why should any of us care about poetry in our super fast, totally digital world?
Well, here's the thing. You already do. You really do. The techniques of poetry, that whole condensed and intensified language thing we talked about, it's all around you. It's just broken out of those old, dusty books.
I mean, just think about it for a second. The lyrics to your favorite song, that's basically lyric poetry. That super catchy advertising slogan you can't get out of your head, that's using poetic compression. A powerful political speech that uses rhythm and repetition to move a huge crowd, that is pure poetry in action. They're all dipping into the exact same toolkit to make language memorable, emotional, and incredibly powerful. And this right here gets to the very heart of why poetry is still around. It has this unique superpower. It can take one person's deeply personal, subjective experience and somehow make it feel universally true for everybody else. It's like it builds a bridge from one person's inner world directly into another's. So that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. We have language for, writing reports, for giving instructions, for just everyday small talk. But what about the biggest, most complicated, most important human experiences? We're talking about deep love, profound loss, that feeling of overwhelming joy. What if, for all that stuff, regular language just doesn't cut it? What if, for those moments, poetry is the only language we've got?